Okay, we're doubly happy to have Faith here as well, talking about Twitter and some of the basics and what you can do to use them in the language learning classroom. Thank you very much for being here today, Faith, and please take it away.
Thank you so much, Glenn, and thank you everyone for coming and joining me here for the second presentation here on this Saturday afternoon. I really enjoyed the first presentation as well, really fantastic. And I am looking forward to looking into some more of the wonderful tools that were shared with us today. So as you know, my name is Faith Marcel, and I teach for Niagara College in the International Department. I am teaching currently the EAP, a Level 5 listening and speaking course. And I'm also an online curriculum development. I work on online curriculum development, and so it's, this area of teaching with technology is one that I've always really enjoyed. So here to talk today just a little bit about Twitter. And last year I was asked to do a presentation on social media at the beautiful Victoria College campus at the University of Toronto for a multi-languages conference. And I touched on a number of different social media topics, and I always sort of wanted to explore the topic of Twitter a little bit more deeply and see how it could be used a little bit more effectively in the classroom. So I'm very happy to have had this opportunity to kind of share some of my findings with you here today. So I'm just going to advance my slides here a little bit. Am I speaking too quickly or too softly, or how is the volume and the sound? Seems it's okay at the beginnings. So far so good? Great, thank you so much. All right. There we go. Okay, so what I'm hoping to cover today is a little bit on the foundations and statistics for Twitter, but just a tiny little bit on the statistic. I'm not going to really focus on numbers. I want to really get it into some of the tools more so. Then we'll move into sort of how Twitter can be used to engage and interact with others, our learners, and other professionals. Then we'll take a look at some of the pedagogical applications, how other teachers are using it, how we can use it. Perhaps you'll be able to share some of the ideas you may have about how you have used it or how you would like to use it. And then finally, we'll kind of wrap up with a few practical tips, tools, and strategies that you can use both inside and outside the classroom. Okay, so sorry about that, I skipped a slide there. I thought something was missing. All right, so first of all, I'd like to just kind of start by saying that I tried to gear this presentation towards a range of proficiencies with Twitter, and also a range of comfort levels. So hopefully there will be a little something for everyone from beginners to advanced users. And for those of you who are advanced users and who are familiar with some of the beginner stuff, I apologize. I'm going to provide some resources, and everyone can sort of take a look at them afterwards as well. I won't spend too much time on the very beginner information in order to be able to sort of cover a little bit more, but I'll be happy to assist anyone who is a beginner with Twitter even after the presentation if there are any questions or we're having any difficulties with getting started. So in order to get started with Twitter, you can set up an account, and you can go to twitter.com to the link that Glenn has kindly provided you there and the one on the slide to set up an account. However, if you are brand new to Twitter and you've never tried this before, you don't need to go ahead and sign up right away if you're not quite comfortable with that yet. We will be looking at ways that you can still use Twitter without having an account. However, I must say that the magic of Twitter really does come when you do have an account and you are able to start interacting with others and interacting with other professionals, with your learners, and so on. So if you're not ready to have an account just yet, that's just fine. You won't need one for this presentation. However, if you do want to go ahead and sign up, you can click on the link and follow the instructions step by step to open an account. Now, if you are already a tweeter and you'd like to start tweeting or start a conversation about this presentation or about Twitter in general, Twitter for TESL, I started a hashtag for this presentation. And for those who are newbies or are new to this, a hashtag is the number symbol in front of the expression inspire TESL there. And in this case, it's basically an expression that is used to join in a conversation on a particular topic. So if you are interested in joining in the discussion or starting up the discussion on it, you can tweet, and in your tweet you will include hashtag Inspire TESL, and anyone who types in hashtag Inspire TESL can be part of this particular conversation. Okay, so someone, Ryan, you're saying you maybe haven't used Twitter in a long time. Okay, so if you are new or haven't used Twitter in a long time, you may already, if you started up an account with Twitter, your account may still be existing there. You may want to try to sign in, and if you don't recall your password, you may be able to reset your password there and get started with it again. Oh, I see people are already starting to follow follow me, and hopefully you'll follow each other as you find your colleagues and learners on Twitter as well. So that's fantastic. And Glenn, you're mentioning you registered for a year or two before you started using it much. Actually, that is my experience as well. I went back when I was preparing for this presentation to see when was it that I actually joined Twitter, and it was 2009. And in that year, I tweeted 10 times. So it was very, very sporadic back then. And even now, I wouldn't say that I tweet many times a day, but I've definitely learned so much, and I'm tweeting a little bit more. So the hashtag Inspire TESL, I'm being asked there, is it used a lot? Actually, that is a brand new hashtag that I've created for this particular presentation. I'm going to give you a list of hashtags that are used for TESL and that are currently being used, that have been used. And at any time, if you are wanting to start a conversation on any particular topic, you can simply put hashtag in front of any word or expression, and that will connect anyone who is on Twitter with that particular conversation topic. Oh, I see someone did a first tweet on Inspire TESL. Yay, thank you. And if anyone is online on Twitter right now, you can also do a search, hashtag Inspire TESL, and you can see that tweet that I want to actually just did. So you can also, oh, and it's been retweeted as well. So maybe I'll continue to move forward in case I'm losing any of our beginners. Thank you so much, everyone, for being so participatory and jumping right in. That's fantastic. So for those of you who may be panicking right now and wondering, oh no, what is a tweet? What do I do? So basically, I know that many of you probably already know this, but a tweet basically can only have a maximum of 140 characters, and that is including spaces. So for some of you who may like to provide a little more information than just a quick snippet of information every time, sometimes it's hard to fit 140 characters. Only have 140 characters for your tweet. So sometimes you can have two tweets for one idea, or oftentimes we're going to use as many abbreviations as we can to fit as much information as we can into a particular tweet. Okay, so I see there's a couple of people saying this is new for you, so that's great. We are starting from the beginning here. So I just wanted to pull, I'm not going to spend too much time on the definitions and such, but I thought it was interesting to compare when Twitter first began in 2006, their definition of what tweeting was or what their service was as compared to today. So when they first started, they had mentioned that Twitter was a service for friends, family, and coworkers to communicate and stay connected through an exchange of quick, frequent answers to one simple question: what are you doing? So, you know, a lot of people were a little bit resistant to using Twitter at the beginning because they thought, well, you know what, I am not interested in sharing what I ate for breakfast with everyone I know, so, you know, this is not something really for me. But since then, it really has evolved, and there are I think Twitter also has come to the realization, the folks at Twitter, that it's a lot more than that. So they've even tweaked the definition in that now Twitter helps you create and share ideas and information instantly without barriers. So it's not simply about answering the question, what's happening now or what are you doing now, but it's about creating and sharing ideas and information and connecting with people without barriers. So that's nice. Oh, looks like we have some more tweets coming out on Inspire TESL. I've got my Twitter feed up here too, so I'm just going to take a quick peek here in case I don't want to miss any questions that you might have or tweets that you might be putting out there. Okay. Oh, fantastic. Our students love to tweet. Oh, I want to also tweet it before at the very beginning. Looking forward to this session. Excellent. So that's wonderful. Thank you so much for your tweets so far, everyone. It's great to be participating in the discussion both here in our chat and also on the live Twitter feed. So that's wonderful. I'm going to keep going and try not to get too excited about all of our tweets so far, but just in the interest of time as well, so I can make sure that I cover everything here. So we're not going to spend too much time talking about stats, as I mentioned, but with the landscape of social media sort of expanding and growing every day, as an educator, it's important for us to know what's out there, what people are using, what our students are using, how we can connect and engage with our learners. And Twitter is absolutely one of the tools that allows us to do that. In this particular infographic, we actually see Twitter, Google+, and Facebook right in the center of that landscape. And according to the numbers, actually, this does seem to be true. So in this, I'm going to provide this presentation after as well. So if you want to take a closer look at some of the infographics, I know there's quite a lot of information on them. You can do that as well. So yes, this particular infographic does show us that the top social media sites out there currently are Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and LinkedIn. Facebook being number one. This actually is from 2012, so I checked this year and it does seem to be the same. The numbers, of course, are higher. Thanks, Len, for posting the larger photo of that. And in terms of the number of users here, it looks quite small here on my screen. Sorry, we've got 200 million plus users of Twitter, and I checked the more recent stats, and it's actually up to 230 million monthly active users on Twitter. So 500 million tweets per day. So it's something that is, you know, it's out there. It is a tool that we are using as professionals, but our learners are also using it on a personal level, and as educators we can help our learners understand how to use it more effectively as well. Ryan mentions, yes, interesting that Canada doesn't break into the top 5 in Facebook and Twitter. So that, again, that was 2012. I wonder if that may have changed also this year, or that's interesting, the population could certainly be a factor. I also wanted to mention something that I'm not really going to cover in this presentation, but something that you may be interested in or may want to look into, and that is a service owned by Twitter that's called Vine, that's been gaining popularity. I put the link on the slide here as well, and even if you just go to search Vine online, you'll be able to pull up this particular service. So this is something that was launched by Twitter recently, last year, I believe it was. And it's a mobile app that allows you to make and share short videos, very short videos, actually 6-second videos, and share them via their service, which is Vine, or via Twitter. So as we know, video can sometimes be quite heavy to share and to move around in terms of file size and such. So this is something a little bit new and creative that was recently offered and has been gaining popularity as well. So if you wanted to have a look, you can take a look at that site. And there are some examples on the Twitter blog on Vine. Interestingly enough, yesterday was Black Friday, and I had a lesson with my level 5s, and we looked on Twitter to see what was happening with Black Friday, and there were a number of Vine videos that were posted just about the shopping madness and such. We looked at the meaning of Black Friday and such. So what's interesting about Twitter and Vine and these types of services is that the information that we find and that we learn is, especially in Twitter's case, it's up to the minute, it's up to date, and it's something that allows us to connect not only with our learners by discussing certain topics, but with really the world, to see what's happening, what is going on a particular holiday and on a major event and that sort of thing. So I see a question here. How do I post a tweet to Inspire TESL? I tried, but it did not show up on Inspire TESL, just my own timeline. Okay, so if you have tweeted and you did the hashtag Inspire TESL, we should be able to see it, Betsy. Let's take a quick peek. Can anyone see Betsy's tweet? So your tweet, yes, we'll maybe find out what your Twitter handle is or what your Twitter name is, Betsy, and see if we can find it. There should be no spaces with your hashtag and that word or expression that you use. So if you type out your tweet and you include Inspire TESL, when we refresh or when the tweets come out, we should be able to see your tweet. So it might take a minute or so. A question, can we post on Vine? Absolutely. If you have downloaded the app and you're ready to go ahead and post on Vine, feel free to post. I have just simply experimented with Vine myself, so I've made a few just little experimental fun videos, but I've been thinking about ways to use it with our learners, because it is such a short, sort of fun way to have someone just post something quite, it could be light in terms of the topic, but it could really be on anything. And if you go to Vine, you will see that there are topics, and people have posted Vines on just about any topic you can think of. So that's something I'd like to do, perhaps even a little bit more research on, but again, it wasn't the focus of my presentation today. So I just wanted to mention it to you to see if, if that could inspire you, or, if any of you had maybe not heard of it, it could be something that you could use or look into further as well. Okay, so I see, okay, there might be a delay for new users. That is possible as well. And again, so for any of the technical issues that we're having with Twitter, I can also have a look afterwards and see if there's anything that I can do to assist it. But I just absolutely love this TESL community, that we're able to work through some of these things together, and that you're all helping each other through the chat. That's just incredible. So thank you all for that too. Okay, so moving forward here. Okay, so again, for some of our newer users, I found this infographic to be quite interesting because it really looks at the anatomy of a tweet. So takes apart a tweet and it explains exactly what things are. So the hashtags we've already looked at here, your name is going to be at the top, and the @ mark plus the Twitter name you have chosen is called your Twitter handle, or sometimes your username as well. Short URLs are here if you want to share URLs about different topics. So anything you can, rather than sharing a long URL for a particular website, there are many URL shorteners that are out there. And usually when I want to use a URL shortener, I'll just search for a URL shortener. I use bit.ly, bit.ly. Actually, maybe I'll just put that in the chat. Bit.ly. I tend to use that one, but there are all kinds of URL shorteners out there. You may even have some that you use. And basically what you will do is you will type in a link, a URL, into the URL shortener and click a button, and it will spit out this very short URL so that you can include it in your restricted 140 character tweet. So it's available for you there. On the bottom, just below your tweet, you will see that the interactions you have with others can be shown just below. You can expand to see the conversation that you are having with others. If others have tweeted on the topic, you can reply to a specific tweet. You can retweet, as some of you have already been doing today with some of your tweets, which is wonderful. And you can favorite tweets so they show up in your favorites as well. So these are different ways that you can interact with others once you do have your Twitter account. And thank you, Ryan, Betsy, Ioana there. That's great. I see you're already on there and working. Sorry, I would like to be a little bit more active here on Twitter. I'm just having a quick peek at our feed as we go along, and
nothing. I have to refresh and I have to unmute.
Oh,
go on. Oh.
Hello? Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, great. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but I have to be back. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so we'll keep going. All right, so if you're looking to learn a little bit more about the Twitter lingo or Twitter languages out there, or some of the tools that you can use within Twitter, there are some cheat sheets out there, which are basically infographics that give you a little bit of details on each one of the elements of Twitter too. So just as the anatomy of a tweet was one of them, this Twitter cheat sheet tells you a little bit about what a Twitter handle is, what a tweet is, some of the basics, and you can use these cheat sheets or infographics to share the information with your learners. So if you have learners who are brand new to Twitter and have never used Twitter before, you can, if you search Twitter cheat sheet, you can find a whole world of them, oddly enough. But also I've provided a few in the presentation here that you can use that I found was sort of easy to follow and quite clear. So I think a few that we didn't cover here is the follow button. So once you are on Twitter, you will begin to, just as with Facebook, you'll add friends, but in Twitter it's followers. So you will follow people and other people will follow you, and you will be able to see the tweets of the people you follow in your Twitter feed. Okay. Also, there is a direct message system with Twitter, so you're able to direct message others and have a short conversation. Now, your direct messages are also in the form of tweets, so they are also they're short messages as well. But it's a great way to have sort of an offline conversation if it's not something that you want to be public. So here's another sort of Twitter cheat sheet, guide to Twitter lingo. And as I mentioned before at the beginning, you'll want to add abbreviations to your tweets to be able to get more information in there when you're sharing ideas and such. And these are some of the most commonly used abbreviations on Twitter. And some of you who are on Twitter, you may or may not agree with some of them being that common, or you may not have seen them. Some of them are used in different contexts for more personal tweets. The focus of my presentation today is more on the professional side. But with Twitter, one of the interesting things is that many people are able to sort of combine the personal and professional and have their Twitter account be partly professional, partly personal, which makes Twitter very interesting. It's sort of almost like a cross between Facebook and LinkedIn in a sense. However, there are ways to use it purely for professional purposes and, of course, purely for personal purposes as well. And for myself, I tend to use it more so on the professional side. So that's sort of what I'm focusing on for teachers and learners of second language or languages in general. Okay. So I also do some development work for OSLT in Colleges Ontario, and we had a professional development workshop last year. And one of the topics I decided to just talk about and create a voice thread on was Twitter. At that time, I was also sort of thinking about how it could be useful for teachers. And I put together this little, it was a voice thread at the time, and I sort of took it and typed it up, 5 reasons for language teachers to take advantage of Twitter. So the main reasons here I have are you can share language teaching and learning resources, so with your colleagues, your learners, and other professionals, and that's something I found myself really doing quite a bit with Twitter. You're able to connect with other language professionals, both in your own professional network, your school, or elsewhere, and you can have learners connect with each other, and you can connect with your learners as well. You can learn about what your colleagues are doing all over the world and share some of the great things that you're working on. If you're working on something interesting, it's great to see what others are doing and to be inspired by ideas that they may be sharing as well. So engaging and interacting with your learners, I find that our learners are always, of course, wanting to know what's happening, what are the new tools that are out there, what are the new ideas that we are learning and sharing. So connecting our learners, especially if they've never used Twitter before, connecting them with Twitter, connecting them with other language professionals. So if they're in an ELT program, an OSLT program, or if they're in an EAP program and they're going to be working towards taking a post-secondary program, what are some of the ways that they can connect on Twitter with other people in their proposed professions, and so on. And finally, finding inspiration and perspectives on our own language teaching and learning. I'm always looking for new ideas. Of course, I think as teachers, we're always looking for ideas. And I just find that Twitter is a constant source of inspiration. So many wonderful ideas that are shared by the people that by people in our field and other fields that may be of interest to us that may not just be our professional field. So just as other social media platforms may be a source of inspiration, Twitter is one that I find to be wonderful for that as well. As Susan mentioned, spontaneous production of written language for learners without evaluation and immediate feedback. Absolutely. A wonderful way to have learners send out something. It's low stakes, no evaluation, feedback right away, not only from the teacher, but from others who are tweeting back and participating in the conversation as well. So that's a great idea, absolutely. And And Susan, I'm glad you mentioned that because since that time, that was last year, I also sort of had more ideas on how it can be used, and I'm sure as time goes on I will get more as I continue to use Twitter more. But I put together this infographic to provide a few more reasons that educators can be using Twitter. So I wonder if I can zoom in here to make this a little bit larger. Oh, there we go. Nice. Okay. So if anyone is interested in creating infographics, I used Easily for this particular, for this one, and it didn't take me very long. That wasn't one of the things I was going to be really talking about, but if you're interested in that, I can provide that for you later as well. So top reasons educators should be using Twitter. I just put should there, but could, can, would like to, could enjoy. So I added here, so learner engagement, peer-to-peer with instructors, with the community at large as well, professional development purposes, so our own continuous learning to inspire others, for global connections, for personal reasons, but professional reasons as well, and for creativity, just ideas for learning activities and innovation. So lots of wonderful ways that Twitter can be helpful and inspiring and can help to engage us and our learners. And I'll get into some more specifics as well, because this is sort of, again, a little bit more high level, but I'll get into exactly how we can do this as well. For this particular infographic, I'll give it to Glenn, and perhaps he can share it on the English Online site after the presentation as well. It will also be on my site, so I'll be linking all of these. I actually just made a quick, took a screenshot of this particular infographic after I made it. I was in a bit of a rush because I kept getting more ideas and adding things to it. So, but I will definitely tweet it out. Oh, actually, is this one I may have already tweeted. I was going to tweet all of the resources. So I tweeted one last night. Let me just take a quick peek. I tweeted one out last night, so it may already be on my feed. Actually, yes, this is the one that I tweeted out last night. So if you go to @FaithMarcel, which is my Twitter handle, it is the tweet. It's in the tweet. The link is in the tweet that I tweeted out last night as well. So there are a couple of more infographics that I created that I'll also be sharing either via Twitter or with Glenn as well. Okay, so the next slide here. I mentioned that we may want to use Twitter for personal or professional purposes. And even as a professional, many people, or some people now, are recommending that we have separate accounts and separate accounts as teachers. So @educator here on this particular infographic refers to, let me see if I can also make this a little bit larger for us. There we go. Okay, so this particular account would be where you are interacting with other teachers and sharing resources. So, for example, this is my probably @FaithMarcel account would be my @educator account, and this is where you are going to be working, sharing resources with other teachers and such, versus an @teacher account where you would be creating an account for your classroom activities. So this way, it's something a little bit separate from your educator account, where you can do activities and have conversations with your learners which are not going to be shared with the other groups of professionals that you have in your educator account. So currently I only have one account, but this is an idea that I've been hearing more and more about, and that some teachers who are using Twitter do, and they have separate accounts for their separate tasks with Twitter. And then the third one is your department or school account. And for myself, with OSLT, I could have created a Twitter account for that, or we could have used one for that. I'm not exactly sure if we have one for OSLT, actually. But for Niagara College, we are always tweeting out. Niagara College social media administrators are always tweeting out information about what's happening at the college and that sort of thing. So if you are an administrator at a school, you'll want to have an account that is separate for the school or department. And I see a question here. So do you use TweetDeck to keep track of these separate accounts? Yes, actually, you could use TweetDeck for that. And for those of you who are not familiar with TweetDeck, it's an account, a Twitter account management service or app. And it helps you to organize it and keep separate all of your Twitter accounts. So you could use TweetDeck, and I have a few others that I'm going to provide you a little bit later in the presentation as well. So as I mentioned before, myself, I only have one, so I don't use TweetDeck for that. I have used TweetDeck just to organize my groups of followers. So groups of followers and groups of people that I follow. So I can see all the information about my ESL tweets in one column and all the information about my ed tech tweets in another column. So those types of services help keep that information separate. Hootsuite is another great one too. And there are some other ones. I actually even just like the Twitter app that is released by Twitter, and it's easy to use, but the others are, it's nice how we have them. They will organize your tweets, your followers, and your groups in different ways that are a little bit more visual sometimes and help you to better understand how to keep things separate and such. This is going to be available to you after the presentation for you to have a look. I know it's a little difficult to read as it is, but I just sort of wanted to throw that idea out there as well. Okay, so now getting into some of the ideas in terms of how to engage or interact with our learners and with others. So the first thing that we can do is to find out what's trending on Twitter today. And in preparing this presentation, I realized this could be a brand new presentation every day based on, what's out there, what's happening, what is trending. And in order to find out what's trending on Twitter, what you can do is once you have your Twitter account, you'll see on the bottom left-hand side the trends. And these are constantly, minute by minute, being updated. So you'll see the hashtags that are trending. And also you'll note that there are words there without hashtags, which Twitter notes as trending topics as well. So these are words that come up repeatedly in our tweets and are not tagged with a hashtag. So they will still show up as trends on Twitter. So what you can do is you can simply tweet, either click on the trends and find out what's happening. You can read the tweets for those particular trends. And if you want to customize your trending feed, you can get trends that are tailored just for you and for your account. So if you click on the change button, you can select the area that you want to receive the trending tweets from. So unfortunately, Niagara is not on the list. I'm from Niagara, but Toronto is my closest city that I can receive tailored tweets from, but you can select Ontario or Canada or wherever you'd like. It's just sort of shows you where you can get that. Now, if you also want to find out what's trending and you don't have an account, or you're in class and you want to just connect with your learners, like yesterday, I wasn't planning on doing anything really related to Twitter, but some Vine videos did come up in some of the news sites that I had been looking at for Black Friday for the students, and the Vine videos they sort of attracted the students' attention. And then we went into Twitter to see what was trending both on Vine and on Twitter for Black Friday, because I had a video about what Black Friday was about, etc. So you could do that for any particular holiday, any major world event, anything that's really happening in the world. You can go onto not only Twitter, as I mentioned, if you don't have an account, you can go simply to Google and type in whatever the event is. So I did Black Friday Twitter, and your trending or most popular Twitter accounts that are discussing topics related to that word or topic will come up on Google. So you'll be able to click on those accounts, and you will be able to see what's trending or what's happening. I see a question from Lynn here. So were the students using their phones or the computers in the lab? Actually, in this class, we didn't have a lab. We do have a lab, but for this particular class, we didn't. So I was showing a video on the screen, and I showed an article from CBC. Then the Vine videos came up, and then they started asking questions. So we went together. I was sort of controlling where we were going, so which is good too, because with Twitter, since it is a live feed, you never really know what could come up. So it's good to be prepared for that as well. However, I must say that the students were using, once we started talking about Twitter, they started asking me more questions. I had asked them. There were 3 of the 18 students in that class that were already on Twitter. And so some of them actually went into Twitter and started showing their friends in the class some other things on Twitter just spontaneously as well. We had to get them reined in a little bit. But yes, they were using their phones for Twitter at that particular point. And for myself, I was using the screen and the projector to show them. It was a little impromptu, so thank you. It was not something that was planned, but it is something that you could plan to work into a lesson. It's to really look at some of the tweets that are out there on a particular topic day, so Halloween, Christmas, all of those things. Lots of people tweeting on all kinds of wonderful topics related to those things, so you can bring that in. So topics of interest to you, basically following influential tweeters who are tweeting on these topics, these things will really help to bring in new, exciting, interesting, different things that are happening out in the world right now. So if we're helping our learners to get onto Twitter, we can maybe suggest some influential tweeters, or they may already have some influential tweeters in their fields of study if they're in an ELT or an OSLT program. We may want to help them to find out who they might be able to best learn from on Twitter. So that may just simply be by doing a quick search on Twitter or on Google to help them find out, okay, who are the most popular or most influential, or people who are out there tweeting the most on topics that are relevant to them. Okay, so this is an example here on healthcare. So I wanted to kind of pull in just a few ideas on what you could find. So this infographic talks about major medical companies, or it could be in any particular field at all. So in education, in engineering, in any fields now, every one of these fields really has people out there that are tweeting. So this infographic talks about the 5 most followed people on Twitter in healthcare, and in this particular case is medical companies. So that may not be the thing that you want to go into, but just as a particular example. In this slide as well, there is a link to the top 10 tweeters in history so far, in Twitter's short history, but you may find that to be interesting as well. Thank you, Glenn, for the time check too. I know we have quite a few things to talk about. I have a question here as well about what the difference is between handles that start with the @ mark and ones that start with a hashtag. So an @ mark is actually your Twitter handle. It's your Twitter name. and the hashtag is the conversation topic. Okay, so that's the difference between the two of them. That was a great question too, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit quicker maybe through some of these other things, and you'll be able to have a look at your leisure at some of the other things as well. So talk about top tweets. Every year there are the top tweets that are highlighted either on CNN or different sites. This was the top tweet from 2012. If you click on the link there as well, you can have a look at some of the other top tweets from 2012. You can share in the discussion, talk with others, show them to your students, perhaps start a discussion, speaking, writing. In that sense, you can use it as a scaffolding as well for other topics. So really lots of different things you can do with those types of that type of information that you can gather from Twitter. So spark learner interest, pick different topics, just as Pinterest has just an incredible world of different topics out there. Now the different companies or different areas of interest may be available for you to find on Twitter. So pick those topics and encourage your learners to either get on Twitter and find out about it, or you can bring it into the classroom. And again, when I say classroom, I'm also referring to either online or sometimes face-to-face. It works as well. Yes, Lynn, I see that you have mentioned the hashtag TESL CDN, so for TESL Canada, which I had seen was sent out in an email this week as well. So if you are wanting to join in the conversation for TESL in Canada, you may want to tweet with the hashtag TESLCDN. So thank you for mentioning that. So this particular site is from Sports Illustrated. It has the top 100 tweet topics and tweeters. Quite interesting to see what people are tweeting about and the different conversations people are having. And these are the sort of top 100 influential tweeters in sports. So if you have learners who are interested in sports, this may be an interesting place for them to take a look at as well. They can follow people directly from this page. I mentioned a little bit about engaging and interacting with what's happening now. If you want to find out what's happening in the community, what's happening, we have a food truck at the college, so I mean anything you can possibly think of that's happening at this moment in your community, you can probably go on Twitter and find out more about it and get involved in the conversation. And that is one of the unique things I think that Twitter allows us to do. So at the time I was preparing the presentation, one of the trending topics was Christmas. I think that's still one of the trending topics out there as well. And you can see these are the top tweeters on these trending topics. So again, something fun topic, but there are, of course, more serious topics out there as well that you can bring in. Okay, so find inspiration and visualization of real-time Twitter conversations. So once you have a real-time Twitter conversation, there are some companies out there or some web developers and such, they've found a way to visualize different tweets and organize them in different ways that display them creatively. So this particular visualization tool is called Visible Tweets. And if you go to visibletweets.com and you type in hashtag anything, you will find that the tweets are going to flow in a visual way. As you can see, I've taken a little screenshot, but if you want to go and take a look and try it out, you'll see different tweets come up on that particular topic. So for this purpose, you could use it in a presentation. You could use it spontaneously in a classroom or so an online or face-to-face classroom. Again, with different hashtags, you may want to just be careful. You're probably going to want to monitor what's coming in. So it depends on if it's something that, if it's a topic that could be appropriate. You just want to make sure anything that's live, you never know if there's going to be something that could pop up that's inappropriate. So that's why I tend to take screenshots and add them, or take a quick peek before I share it with the learners. So when I was at the podium with the students yesterday, I was able to kind of take a quick peek before I could display it to the students, and that was very helpful to have that opportunity. So that particular tweet that came up on that day was someone sharing this infographic on ESL verbs. So this is there for you if you want to have a look at it as well. And this is another tweet that came out. It's an infographic that I shared in a previous presentation from the University of Toronto's collaboration on research with different countries. So these tweets that come out basically have quite interesting information that is not only on basic, simpler topics, but you can find information on just about anything. Ooh, Twitter lingo quiz. I want to thank you for sharing that, and I wasn't planning on having a quiz at the end of the presentation, but but it sounds very interesting. I'll look forward to finding it. So Twitter apps, someone mentioned TweetDeck. So TweetDeck is on here. These are the top 10 Twitter apps of 2013. So TweetDeck is on here. Twitter Hootsuite Seismic is another one. It seems to be the #1 this year. And Twitter is the #3. That's the one that I use. Twitter and TweetDeck are the ones that I use. But you can have a look and see which ones are interesting for you, which one you may find interesting. Lynn, sorry, I know the text is a little bit small, but if you click on the link, it'll take you to the site so you can have a look at it. And you can also click into each one of those and get further information with a review on each one of them as well. So this is another site. It's another app and site online you can go to. It's called TweetBeam. So it's tweetbeam.com. And this is another sort of visualization site for Twitter. So you can type in any hashtag and it'll show the users and the tweets coming on that particular hashtag. This is just a fun site called Portraiture, and you type in your Twitter handle and it'll show you a visualization of the status topics that you're tweeting about. And you can use it for a Twitter background, for a slide presentation. For me, I just kind of discovered it, so I was just using it to find. It shows you the words that you're using most frequently and such. So it's a beautiful visualization that it creates. So I thought that was kind of neat. You may find other uses for it, or you may find that it's not useful at all, but I thought it was something kind of creative that was out there as well. So Twitter chats. Lots of Twitter chats happening. When I first started, there were very few, and people were just starting. I went to an NT, it's called an NT teacher chat, is that NT chat, which was New Teacher Chat. But now there are just conversations and hashtags on just about anything you can possibly think of. And I tried to do a bit of research and find out as many hashtags as I could. So I put together this little hashtags infographic to, gather some of the ones that are related to TESL. So I'm going to tweet this out as well. On the bottom of the infographic, you'll see the TESL Twitter chats. And sometimes they're scheduled. Sometimes they are just out there. As soon as you type a tweet, it's going to appear with those chats. But there are live streaming chats that happen as well. Oh, Realize 2014 conferences, absolutely. That's not something I mentioned, but any event, basically, people are tweeting about the events. The upcoming Realize English Online Conference, the hashtag is hashtag Realize 14 as well. So any kind of topic, our TESL Ontario conference, find the hashtag and tweet, join the conversation, and we can encourage our learners to do the same when they attend different events for the college and such. Okay, so I'm getting the the time signal here, so I am going to wrap it up. But another tweet sheet here. This one has some more hashtags on different topics related to education. So you can, oh, no problem, Glenn. I understand. I'm sorry, I'm going a little bit long, but I'll wrap it up. So our hashtags for education, tons of them out there. EdTech education, really big trending topics on Twitter. So you can have a look at those. Tripstory. Now, Tripstory is a way to gather conversations and to create a little story from the tweets that have gone out on a particular topic. So if I have a lot of topics on the hashtag Inspire TESL, I could go into Tripstory, create a hashtag Inspire TESL Tripstory, and just tweet this out or share it with others so that they can see the whole conversation all together on one page. And that's shareable completely online as well. Here are some more ideas and inspiration by educators. For educators, 130 more ideas that you can have a look at. Some Twitter manners, that's another kind of interesting slide to look at, infographic, and that's pretty much it. I just want to say thank you to David Atherton at Niagara College, Peggy Irwin at Colleges Ontario, to all of you for being here today with us. And sorry I had to go through a little bit quickly at the end, but lots of links there for you to have a look at if you have a chance at another time. And I'll look forward to tweeting with you or seeing you at our next conference. And for the question, where can I get Twitter manners info, that is an infographic. There's a link there if you wanted to have a look at it. Even if you search on Google, you'll find it as well. There's some others on Twitter etiquette, Twitter manners that are interesting as well, that are helpful for our learners to share with them about how to actually participate in Twitter. So that cultural piece as well is quite important that you can also share with the learners. So yeah, so enjoy, happy tweeting, and thank you very much for your presentation and for all of your wonderful kind interactions in the chat as well. It's been a pleasure talking to you all today. And thank you, Glenn.
Thank you very much. That was amazing. There was so much good information there. And yeah, I think Natalia mentioned that infographics are incredible. They're really, really nice. I just did post all of the links in our discussion forum. So here's the link to that forum once again.
Okay.
You can go there and ask questions, and please share with each other any other Twitter resources, things like that. I'll also be posting the links from Maria and Liz's presentation as well, and the link to the presentation recordings once they're up next week.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks. If you scroll up a bit, my email is there for anybody who needs a certificate or professional development certificate. You can email me within an hour of now, and I'll send you one probably on Monday or Tuesday. And
Hi, Glenn.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. Go ahead.
Sorry about that, Glenn. I had tried to upload that. It took a little bit to upload it, so I'm sorry to have interrupted you when you were talking there. It was just another infographic I had created last minute. So sorry about that.
Oh, no.
But I'll tweet that.
I mean, yeah, originally I wanted you to do the infographics presentation, but you wanted to do the Twitter, so it's nice to combine the two.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, that was awesome. So much. Thanks so much, Faith. So yeah, thanks everyone for a great morning. That's it for today. I guess you can kind of linger around and ask a few questions if you like. And please continue the chat on Twitter and in our discussion forum. Thank you.
Thanks again, Glenn.